Chapter 1. A Heart of Compassion. It was a quiet morning in Skopje, a small town that now belongs to North Macedonia. The year was 1910. In a stone house with blue-gray shutters, a baby girl was born to a family who valued kindness more than wealth. Her parents named her Agnes Gongsha Bojakshiu. Later, the world would know her as Mother Teresa. Agnes grew up in a house filled with simple love. Her father, Nicola, was a businessman who helped neighbors in need. Her mother, Drena, often cooked extra soup so that anyone who was hungry could eat. Little Agnes watched her mother quietly wrap bread in a cloth and send it to a poor family down the street. When Agnes asked why, her mother would smile and say, "My child, never eat a single mouthful unless you are sharing it with someone else." These early moments stayed in Agnes's heart like warm light. Agnes was a small, curious girl. She liked to sing in the church choir and to read stories about faraway lands. She often stood at the gate after school, watching travelers with heavy bags walk past. She wondered, where are they going? Who helps them when they are tired? The world outside her town began to call to her. When Agnes was 8, her father suddenly became very sick and died. The house felt empty and heavy, but Drena never let grief turn into bitterness. She told her children, "We cannot forget kindness because of sadness. We must keep giving." From that day, Agnes saw her mother work twice as hard, sewing, cooking, helping neighbors. Even in loss, the family kept sharing food and comfort. Agnes learned that love grows stronger in hard times. On Sundays, Agnes loved to walk to church. The smell of candle wax and the sound of soft hymns filled her with peace. One evening, a visiting priest spoke about India. He described crowded streets, poor families without clean water, children with no school. As Agnes listened, her heart beat fast. She thought, there are people far away who suffer every day. Could I help them? The idea stayed with her. She began to pray in her small room each night. God, show me my path. Let me bring love where it is most needed. At 16, Agnes made a quiet but firm decision. She would dedicate her life to God and to helping the poor. It was not an easy choice. It meant leaving her mother, her friends, and the familiar streets of Skopje. But her heart was steady. Drana looked into her daughter's eyes and said, "Put your hand in his hand and walk all the way with him." With those words, she gave Agnes her blessing. In 1928, at the age of 18, Agnes packed a small suitcase. Inside were only a few clothes, a prayer book, and a heart full of courage. She said goodbye at the train station, holding her mother's hands for a long, silent moment. Tears rolled down their faces, but both smiled. They knew this was a journey of love. The train carried Agnes across mountains and fields to Ireland, where she joined the Sisters of Loreto to prepare for missionary life. There she began to learn English, a new language that would help her serve people around the world. Every day she prayed and studied. The sisters noticed her gentle spirit and strong will. One of them said, "She may look quiet, but her heart is brave." After months of training, Agnes set sail again, this time to faraway India. She did not know the heat, the crowded streets, or the poverty she would soon face. Yet she felt no fear, only a calm joy. In her heart, she whispered, "This is the path I was born for." Chapter reflection for learners, keywords from this chapter: kindness, courage, journey, prayer, mission, compassion. Try saying, Love grows stronger in hard times. This simple sentence carries the spirit of Mother Teresa's early life. Chapter 2. The Call to Serve in India. The ship rocked gently on the wide blue ocean. Agnes stood on the deck, her black veil fluttering in the warm wind. It was 1929. She was only 18, yet she was sailing toward a country she had never seen. India. The sea smelled of salt and adventure. As she watched the endless horizon, she prayed softly. Guide me, Lord. Let me bring love where it is most needed. Arrival in a new world. Weeks later, the ship entered the busy port of Calcutta, now called Kolkata. The air was hot and heavy with spice and smoke. Agnes stepped onto the crowded dock and felt the heartbeat of the city. She heard bells from temples, calls from market sellers, and the cries of children playing. The streets were alive with colors, bright saris, painted carts, and the deep red of setting sun. Everything was new, and everything felt important. She soon began teaching at St. Mary's High School for girls. The Laredo sisters welcomed her warmly, and she took the name Sister Teresa. Her days were full of lessons, prayers, and songs. The students loved her gentle way of explaining English and geography. She told them, "Every little action done with love is big in God's eyes." The hidden suffering. Yet outside the school gates, another world waited. On her walks through the streets, Sister Teresa saw people sleeping on sidewalks with only a thin cloth. She noticed children begging for food, mothers carrying babies who were sick and weak. Sometimes she paused to give a smile or a small coin, but her heart wanted to give much more. One rainy evening, she watched a woman sit by the road, shivering and alone. Cars passed without stopping. Sister Teresa whispered a prayer and covered the woman with her own shawl. The woman's eyes filled with tears. That small act stayed with Teresa all night. She thought, teaching is good, but God may be asking me to do something even deeper. A voice in the quiet. Years went by. Sister Teresa became the school principal. She was respected, cheerful, and efficient. But inside, a quiet unease began to grow. During her times of prayer, she felt a new call, a soft but strong voice in her heart saying, "Go out, serve the poorest of the poor, bring my love to the streets." On September 10th, 1946, while riding a train to a retreat in the Himalayan foothills, the feeling became clear and powerful. Later, she called this day the Day of Inspiration. She said, "I heard the call to leave the convent and help the poor while living among them. It was a call within a call." The train rushed past green hills and small villages, but Sister Teresa felt only a deep calm. She knew she had to step outside the walls of the school and live among those who suffered the most. Stepping into the unknown. Leaving the comfort of the convent was not easy. She had no money of her own and no clear plan. For months she prayed and sought guidance. Finally, with the blessing of her superiors and the Pope, she received permission to start a new mission. She changed her name once more to Mother Teresa, a sign of her new life as a servant to the poorest. In 1948, she left the safe stone walls of Laredo and walked into the crowded streets of Calcutta, wearing a simple white sari with blue borders, the dress of ordinary Indian women. She carried only a small bag and a heart full of trust. The first days were hard. She had no house, no steady income. She began by teaching poor children in the open air, drawing letters in the dust with a stick. She washed the wounds of the sick with her bare hands and comforted the dying with quiet prayers. Neighbors watched and slowly began to help. Some gave soap, some brought rice, others simply sat beside her. From these humble beginnings, a great mission was born. Seeds of a new mission. Within a year, a few young women joined her. They shared one simple purpose: to love and care for the poorest of the poor. Together, they rented small rooms, cooked simple meals, and turned each place into a tiny shelter for those who had nowhere else to go. Mother Teresa wrote in her diary, "Little things are indeed little, but to be faithful in little things is a great thing." Chapter reflection for learners. Keywords: mission, courage, poorest, bless, humble, faithful. Try saying, "Little things done with great love can change the world." This sentence carries the heart of Mother Teresa's early mission. Chapter 3: Founding the Missionaries of Charity. Calcutta in the late 1940s was a city of sharp contrasts. Golden temples and busy markets stood next to dark alleys filled with people who had nothing. Mother Teresa walked those alleys every morning. She carried a small bag of soap, bandages, and bread. Her simple white sari with blue edges soon became a familiar sign of comfort. Children would call out, "Mother is coming!" Neighbors opened their doors with shy smiles. She cleaned wounds, washed little faces, and sat with the dying so they would not leave the world alone. A spark becomes a home. At first, she worked alone. Her only classroom was a street corner. Her only clinic, a broken porch. But love attracts love. Young women from the neighborhood began to help. They washed bandages, cooked rice, and read lessons in the dust with the children. One evening, after prayer, Mother Teresa said quietly, "God has planted a seed. We will water it with our hands." This seed grew into a small community. In 1950, with the blessing of the Pope, she officially founded the Missionaries of Charity. Their mission was simple and clear: to care for the hungry, the naked, the homeless, the crippled, the blind, and all who feel unwanted or unloved. The new sisters wore the same plain sari as Mother Teresa. Their vow was not only of poverty and obedience, but also a fourth vow: to give wholehearted and free service to the poorest of the poor. Daily life of the mission. Life in the small convent was humble and full. The sisters woke before sunrise to pray. They ate simple meals, rice, lentils, and tea. Then they walked out into the noisy streets carrying small bags of food and medicine. Every day they met people who were sick, hungry, or simply lonely. One morning, they found a man lying near the railway station, weak with fever. Without hesitation, Mother Teresa and a sister lifted him into a rickshaw and took him to their tiny shelter. They washed his wounds, gave him warm tea, and stayed beside him until he smiled. Stories like this happened again and again, each one a quiet miracle. The home for the dying. Soon the sisters needed a bigger place. In 1952, they opened Nirmal Hriday, which means pure heart, a home for the dying. Here, those who had been left on the streets could find a clean bed, warm food, and gentle care in their final days. Many people who had been forgotten left the world with dignity and peace. Mother Teresa often said, "We cannot do great things, but we can do small things with great love." These words became the heart of their service: challenges and courage. Not everyone welcomed their work. Some questioned why she helped people of all religions. Others doubted that free service could last. Money was always short. But Mother Teresa never argued loudly. She answered with action. Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. And every time a need arose, help somehow arrived. A donation of rice, a gift of medicine, or a kind neighbor ready to volunteer. Growing light, the missionaries of charity slowly grew beyond Calcutta. Young women from other parts of India and even from Europe and America came to join. By the end of the 1950s, they had opened houses in several Indian cities. Each new house followed the same simple pattern: prayer, poverty, and service. Mother Teresa kept her own life simple. She owned only 2 saris, a pair of sandals, and a rosary. She walked the crowded streets every day, believing that love shown in small deeds could light the darkest places. Chapter reflection for learners. Keywords: mission, service, vow, charity, humble, dignity. Try saying, we cannot do great things, but we can do small things with great love. This sentence captures the spirit of Mother Teresa's new community. Chapter 4. Daily Life and Global Recognition. Morning in Calcutta always began with soft bells and the smell of rice cooking on street stoves. For Mother Teresa and her sisters, each day started long before sunrise. The city still slept when they gathered for quiet prayer in their small chapel. Candles flickered, their voices rose in gentle hymns. Make us instruments of your peace. A simple, daily rhythm. After prayer and a simple breakfast of bread and tea, the sisters stepped into the busy streets. They carried baskets with rice, soap, and bandages. Some went to teach poor children under a tree. Others visited homes where sick people lay on mats with no doctor. Mother Teresa often went to Nirmal Hriday, the home for the dying, to comfort those taking their last breath. She sat beside each person, holding a hand and whispering soft prayers. Sometimes she bathed a feverish forehead. Sometimes she simply smiled. To her, every person deserved to die with dignity and love, no matter their religion or background. Her day did not end until late evening, yet she always seemed calm, even joyful. She would tell her sisters, "We do not need to do big things. We only need to do small things with great love." Expanding beyond Calcutta. As months turned into years, the missionaries of charity grew quietly but steadily. New houses opened in other Indian cities: Delhi, Bombay, Madras. Each house looked the same: plain white walls, blue-bordered saris, and hearts ready to serve. Young women came from faraway places: Europe, America, Africa. They left behind comfortable lives to join Mother Teresa. She welcomed each with a warm smile and simple words. Come, be my light to the poor. By the early 1960s, the missionaries of charity had become a network of compassion spreading across India and beyond. Attention from the world. The quiet work in narrow streets slowly reached the ears of the world. Newspapers began to write about a small woman in a white sari who cared for the poorest with fearless love. Visitors came to see the homes she had built. Shelters for orphans, clinics for lepers, simple schools where children learned to read letters in the sand. Some reporters were surprised to find no grand office or large staff. They saw only simple rooms and sisters who laughed while washing clothes or cooking rice. Yet the impact was powerful. In 1965, Pope Paul VI gave official recognition to the missionaries of charity, allowing them to serve outside India. Soon, houses opened in Venezuela, Italy, and Tanzania. Love had no borders. Meeting challenges with love. As her work grew, Mother Teresa faced new challenges. Money was never enough. Sometimes people questioned her methods or accused her of being too strict, but she rarely entered long debates. She preferred action to words. When asked how she could keep going, she answered with a gentle smile. If we worry about numbers, we will never begin. We work one person at a time, with love. Her quiet courage inspired many to donate and volunteer. Food and medicine arrived from unexpected places. Doctors offered free surgeries. Neighbors brought blankets and soap. A light to the nations. By the 1970s, Mother Teresa had become a symbol of compassion far beyond India. She traveled to new countries to start houses for the poor. Wherever she went, she kept her simple lifestyle: 2 saris, a rosary, and sandals. Presidents and kings wanted to meet her, but she often spent more time with the homeless than with leaders. In 1979, the world honored her with the Nobel Peace Prize. At the ceremony in Oslo, she wore the same plain sari and spoke softly. It is not how much we do, but how much love we put in the doing. Let us begin with love in our own homes. The audience gave a long, standing applause. But Mother Teresa quickly turned the moment back to her mission. She asked that the award money be used to help the poor. The heart of her mission. Even as praise grew, her life in Calcutta remained the same. She still walked the dusty streets each morning, greeting children by name and comforting the sick. She still ended each day with quiet prayer. Her message never changed. Love begins at home. If you want to change the world, go home and love your family. Chapter Reflection for Learners. Keywords: compassion, dignity, mission, humble, recognition, peace. Practice saying, "It is not how much we do, but how much love we put in the doing." This sentence captures the heart of Mother Teresa's daily life and global influence. Chapter 5. Legacy of Love. The years passed, but Mother Teresa's daily life changed very little. She still wore the same white sari with blue edges. She still rose before dawn to pray and then walked into the streets of Calcutta. Her small figure and gentle smile became a familiar sight not only in India, but all over the world. Serving until the end. Even in her 70s and 80s, Mother Teresa kept traveling to open new homes for the poor. She visited Africa, Europe, the Americas, and Asia. Everywhere she went, she looked for those who were forgotten, the homeless, the sick, the lonely. She said, "Wherever there is suffering, we must be there." Her body, however, began to grow weak. She suffered from heart problems and often felt tired. Doctors advised her to rest, but she quietly answered, "I can rest in heaven. Now is the time to work." The sisters tried to help her conserve energy, yet she insisted on visiting homes and comforting the dying. Her courage inspired everyone around her. A worldwide family of service. By the 1990s, the missionaries of charity had grown from a handful of sisters to thousands of members in more than 100 countries. They ran orphanages, schools, leprosy clinics, and homes for people with HIV and AIDS. Every house followed the same simple rhythm of prayer and service. Mother Teresa often reminded her sisters, "We are not social workers. We are lovers of Jesus. Our work is only love in action." This focus on love rather than numbers gave the organization a special spirit that many admired. Final days. In 1997, After decades of unceasing service, Mother Teresa's health declined sharply. She returned to Calcutta and spent her last weeks surrounded by the sisters she had trained and loved. Even in weakness, she blessed them with a warm smile and gentle words. On September 5, 1997, Mother Teresa passed away peacefully at the age of 87. The news traveled quickly across the world. Leaders of nations sent messages of sorrow and respect. Thousands of people, rich and poor, famous and unknown, came to Calcutta to pay their last tribute. Her funeral was honored by the Indian government and attended by people of many faiths. A living legacy. Mother Teresa's mission did not end with her death. The sisters continued to open new houses on every continent. Volunteers and donors from around the world kept coming to help. Today, the missionaries of charity remain active in more than 130 countries, serving the poorest of the poor. Her words still inspire millions. Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. Children learn these words in schools. Doctors quote them in hospitals. Ordinary people remember them when they help a neighbor or comfort a friend. Lessons for everyone. Mother Teresa's life teaches that true greatness is not in wealth or fame. It is in kindness, patience, and love for each human being. She believed that every person, no matter how poor or sick, is precious. She showed that even the smallest act of care can change a life. Her example invites us all to look around and ask, who near me needs a smile, a meal, or a listening ear today? In this way, her mission continues in homes, schools, and quiet streets everywhere. Chapter: Reflection for Learners. Keywords: legacy, compassion, humble, serve, inspire, dignity. Practice saying, not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. This sentence sums up Mother Teresa's life and her message to the world.